Shalom, welcome to the Jewish Task Force JTF. My name is Chaim Ben Pesach. Before we get to our subject, which is Fitna, the great film that has been made about Islam that really is a very revealing and truthful film, before we give our commentary on that whole controversy, people who watch QPTV can see the evening schedule, and this is the daytime schedule that we're on the air on QPTV. This is our great forum that we urge everybody to join. And if you can't remember this address, you can always just go to JewsAgainstObama.com. That's easy to remember. I want to say that it's very rare when I praise films or videos that are made nowadays because almost all of them are politically correct. We have gotten into a politically correct straitjacket where people don't have free speech anymore. But this film, Fitna, which is a film that really exposes Islam, quoting from the Quran. It just quotes from the Quran, and it shows, and by the way, it shows actual quotes from the Quran. There's nothing misleading there or untruthful there. Actual quotes from the Quran. And then it shows actual Arab and Muslim speakers making their inflammatory, hateful speeches against Jews, Christians, and all non-Muslim infidels. It just shows them. It shows pictures of Arabs and Muslims speaking. You know, it's not making anything up. And then shows pictures of the terrorist bombings and attacks and atrocities that Muslim terrorists have been committing all over the world. This very factual and truthful film shows that all of the source for this terrorism and mass murder that we've seen from the Islamic world comes from the Quran and the Hadith and the Islamic religion itself. It's all in the Quran and the Hadith and in the scriptures of the Islamic religion, and this simply documents that. And of course, the reaction to it is the same as the reaction as the reaction to anything that is critical of Islam or that exposes the truth about Islam. Anyone who tells the truth about Islam gets the same reaction: death threats and all other types of threats. I just want to say, by the way, that every time the Muslim terrorists and their supporters threaten people because they tell the truth, they're proving that those of us who criticize Islam and who say that Islam is a terrorist religion, those of us who say that are being proven right. Every time you threaten and every time you want to engage in acts of violence because people are exercising their free speech rights. But there's something more profound here that I want to mention about this. I praise the courage of the people that put this film together. They are courageous people. They deserve to be praised. And we applaud them. Having said that, I want to make note of the fact that my leader, Rabbi Meir Kahane, whose picture you see in the background, you always see his picture in the background of my videos. My leader, Rabbi Meir Kahane, Zecher Tzadik V'Kadosh Livracha Hashem Yikom Damo, which means may the memory of the saint be immortalized, may God avenge his blood. My leader, Rabbi Kahane, has been saying this since the 1960s. Since the 1960s, he was warning about Islamic terrorism. Since the 1960s, he was saying that this was going to happen, that we're going to have a clash of civilizations, and that this is what the Quran teaches, and that this is inevitable, and that the Western world has to wake up. Since the 1960s. The very first terrorist attack of Al-Qaeda was the assassination of my leader, Rabbi Meir Kahane, in November 1990 in New York. Rabbi Kahane was giving a speech urging Jews, as he often did, urging Jews to go to Israel to make Aliyah. And in that last speech he gave in that hotel in November 1990, Al-Qaeda assassinated him in cold blood. And that was their very first attack. That was the first time they committed a terrorist attack. And they even explained, El Said Nosser Yimach Shmo V'Zichro, who was the Al-Qaeda gunman in that attack, he was ordered to do it by Sheikh Abdul Rahman, who, Yimach Shmo V'Zichro, all of them are now in prison serving life without parole sentences, thanks to us in JTF, because they wanted to let him off. The Justice Department of the United States was intimidated and wanted to let them go. We pushed and pushed and pushed with thousands of letters and protests, and we pushed them and got them to prosecute these beasts, and all of them are doing life without parole in federal penitentiaries now, thanks to us. But Nosser said that they had to kill Rabbi Kahane because he was the big Jew. He was the Jew that threatened Al-Qaeda's plans because Rabbi Kahane was so brilliant and so convincing and so charismatic and so inspiring and so truthful and so courageous. First of all, the only way you could shut Rabbi Kahane up is by murdering him. Just like you can't shut me up unless you murder me. You're not going to shut us out. And and if you murder me, there are going to be other people in JTF who are going to follow me, just as when you murdered Rabbi Kahana, we have other people who are giving the same message. You're not going to murder the truth. You might murder me. I might get murdered. It's possible. And Rabbi Kahana was murdered. My leader was murdered. Anything is possible. And I recognize the danger in that, and I'm willing to accept that danger because I believe in what I stand for. But you're not going to murder the message, and you're not going to murder the truth. All you're going to do is turn us into martyrs, and you're going to create even more awareness of what you are all about, you Muslim terrorist beasts who have a Nazi intolerance for anybody that does not believe in your primitive, insane beliefs. And so we have a situation here where people are not allowed to express themselves, not allowed to tell the truth. And again, what I'm attacking is Muslim terrorists and Muslim terrorism. I'm not allowed to attack Muslim terrorists or criticize Muslim terrorism. This film is attacking Muslim terrorism and is exposing the fact that the roots of this come from the Quran. It's the truth. The truth is, what are we going to say? The truth is not permitted to be told. Rabbi Kahana was right from the start. Right from the start, he warned these things were going to happen since the 60s. That's why they murdered him before they did the World Trade Center bombings, before they did the bombings in Africa and other places, before Al-Qaeda started their worldwide terrorist campaign. The very first thing they did, the very first thing that Osama bin Laden and Sheikh Rahman and the other leaders of Al-Qaeda did, they wanted to get Rabbi Kahana out of the way. We, Jews and righteous Gentiles of JTF, are continuing the legacy of Rabbi Kahana because we're not going to be silenced. You're not going to shut us up. We're going to continue to tell the truth and expose what this is all about. We're going to continue to tell the West that you've got to wake up before it's too late, before they set off nuclear bombs in American cities and European cities and murder millions of innocent people, because that is what they're planning to do. That's what Iran is planning to do when they're building nuclear bombs now, and other Muslim countries may follow suit. You had better wake up fast. You had better wake up fast before you face a Muslim terrorist nuclear holocaust. And the Muslims are coming into Europe and taking over European countries, and they're going to be the majority of Europe. They're going to be the majority of Europe. They're going to take over unless people wake up. This is going to plunge the entire world into an unprecedented era of darkness like we have never seen before in history. If you want a world ruled by people like Osama bin Laden and the Yasser Arafats and the Mahmoud Abbases and all these other terrorists, gangsters, murderers, rapists, women haters, corrupt, slimy billionaires who oppress and starve their own people, if this and allow millions of their own people to be murdered in these crazy wars they start in the Muslim world. Muslims murder millions of other Muslims. If you want those types of people to be running things, if you want a world where they will have nuclear weapons, if you want a world where they will be in control, then don't wake up. But the truth is, we can still stop this. We have the power to stop this. We have the power to resist. We have the power to win. We can defeat them. We can defeat them if only we have the will to survive. And it does take courage. It does take courage. It's not easy. If I had $1 for every death threat that I've received in my lifetime, I'd be a billionaire. My name wouldn't be Chaim Ben Pesach. My name would be Bill Gates. That's how much I'd be worth if I had $1 for every time I've received a death threat. But it's not going to stop me, and it's not going to stop JTF, and it's not going to stop people that have principles and stand for something. We stand for something. We believe in something. We would rather be dead than live a lie. We would rather die for the truth than live a lie. We're not going to live a lie. We're going to stand up for what's right, and we're going to do what's right, and we're going to stand up for justice. Justice everywhere in the world. And justice demands that the truth about the Quran, as revealed in this film Fitna, and even more so as revealed by Rabbi Kahana since the 1960s, that truth must be told. If the Muslims claim that we're saying something that isn't true, I urge people, open up the Quran and see if what we're saying is true. Read it for yourself. Read the Hadith. I want you to read the Quran. I want you to read the Hadith. I want you to see what it says for yourself. If you understand the nature of this threat and you understand how serious this is, what a ticking time bomb this is, and the time bomb that will go off will be a nuclear one before this is over unless we wake up. If you understand that threat, then you understand that it is your obligation, your moral obligation, to join with us before it is too late. Shalom.